Alright. Just fucking figure it out. You know what you do, leaders. Making it to the top, all the way to the top. You need to go for the money and not the honey. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
What's going on, world? DS1 Ross, and we back here on Sheep Stay Sleep TV. Shout out to everyone who support the platform. Much love, much love, much love. Salute to everyone that's in the building right now. If you are in the building and you can hear me clearly, just drop a 1 in the chat. Just drop a 1 in the chat. Let me know if y'all can hear me clearly. Let me know if y'all hear me clearly. Drop a 1 in the chat. Let me know if y'all can hear me. Y'all let me know if y'all can hear me out there. Okay, well, I guess I can be heard. Shout out to everyone in the building. I guess y'all can hear me. I don't see no ones, but I guess y'all can hear me. All right. So shout out to y'all. Shout out to y'all. Make sure y'all hit the like button on the way in. Hit the like button on the way in, man. We back right here on Sheep Stay Sleep TV. I'm y'all host, DS1 Ross, of course. I appreciate all the love and the support. Salute to everyone that's in the building. Salute to everyone that's in the building right now. Hit the like button on the way in, please. Hit the like button on the way in. Hit the like button on the way in. We got to have this conversation today, fam. We're going to have this conversation today. Now, the reason why we've been having these types of conversations lately, because I don't know if y'all know, but it's a lot going on. It's a lot going on in the world. It's a lot going on outside of, the things that we worry about on a daily basis. It's a whole lot going on. And me as a content creator, I always like to let my audience know or have a glimpse of what's going on outside of their world. Because a lot of us get so caught up in life that we just focused on what we doing, what we got going on, what we have to worry about, that a lot of times we not even prepared for what's to come because we not thinking about what's to come. We don't even have a clue on what's to come. And what's to come may be worse than what you're going through currently. You see? What's down the pipe can be actually worse than what you're dealing with now. So this is why we need to have these conversations. We need to know what's going on in the world. We need to know what's going on in society. Because whether we believe it or not, those things will affect us. Trust and believe it will affect our everyday life. You see? But if we just, if we just focused on what they want us to focus on, then we're not going to really know what's going on. You see? Go back and listen to that Marvin Gaye song. That's a classic song. Shout out to Marvin Gaye. That's a classic song. What's going on? It was a question. He turned this question into a song because he was trying to ask the people, what's going on? And he started talking about what was going on in society. So he's asking the people, what we gonna do? That's why he started the song. Wake up, everybody. No more sleeping in bed. Meaning, wake up. Pay attention to what's going on in the world. Become aware about what's really going on. Think of the times of ahead. Think of what's getting ready to happen. What's going to happen. Instead of us just staying caught up on what they want us to stay caught up on. Because that form of manipulation is what keeps a level of oppression in society. You see, this is how society stays oppressed. Because they telling us what to focus on. They telling us what to worry about. They telling us what not to worry about. And the things that they tell you you shouldn't worry about are the things that you should worry about. Because one thing they don't want society to be is they don't want society to be aware. Because if you are aware of certain things, you will begin to prepare yourself. They don't want society to prepare for what they have coming. They don't want society to become aware of what they've been doing. You see? This is how they stay 20, 30 steps ahead of us. Because they already know how we thinking. And they already know how we thinking based on them telling us what to think about, what to worry about, what to not worry about, what you shouldn't be thinking about, what you shouldn't focus on, what's important to you, what's not important to you. You see? This is how this is how they remain in control. How you doing, Miss Paris? Hey, Benet, how you doing? Benet says they have lowered the expectations. Absolutely. What's up, Chop? What's going on? You see? They don't want us to focus on certain things because for us to be aware of these things, we can now prepare. And they don't want us to be prepared for anything. They don't want us to be prepared for anything. They want society to be reactionary. They want us to remain in a state of reaction. I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Thank you. Hope all is well with you. You see? So today, on today's show, America's cash crop. America's biggest industry exposed. See, they don't want us having these types of conversations because they want us to think as everyday people, people like me and you, they want us to think that these conversations are null and void. They want to make you think that these type of conversations will not help you. Having this type of information doesn't matter. This is what they want you to believe. But see, the information that we're going to expose today is the reason why they've been talking about the Epstein files. See, shout out to Earl. What's up, Earl? What's going on, fam? See, the reason for all this conversation about the Epstein files is because this stuff got exposed. And when it got exposed, it exposed a lot of people, which exposed America's biggest industry. See, they always want to tell us America's biggest industry is this, America's biggest industry is that. But we should know what America's biggest industry is. We should know by now. All we got to do is look at the billionaires and what the billionaires are in trouble for. What did Epstein get in trouble for? What did Bambaataa get in trouble for? What is Russell Simmons on a run from? Harvey Weinstein. What is all these people in trouble for? That should tell you right there. America's cash crop. Children. That's America's cash crop. Children. Children. And we're going to talk about this today. This is why it's important that families stay intact, especially now. Especially now. Children are being sacrificed a mile a minute. Children are being kidnapped in inner city neighborhoods at an alarming rate. It is because now it's so easy to sell children on the dark web. It's so easy to sell children now. You can sell a child to a trafficker. This is why you're seeing all these children missing. It's big business. It's big business. And this is what you see all of these people in trouble for. They're all in trouble for dealing with children. Y'all don't notice that? The violation of children. This is America's cash crop, y'all. What do y'all think Disney was all about? Children. Nickelodeon. Children. Children, y'all. Children is America's biggest industry. Every other industry is funded through the sacrifice of children here in America. This is what y'all don't know. But we're going to talk about it today. Appreciate you, Earl. Salute to you. We're going to get into it today. And we're going to go into some history. Y'all know how we do over here. We're going to go into some history. So y'all can understand that this is what this stuff is about. Don't let these people tell you what America is, and don't let these people tell you this. Because they only telling you what somebody else told them to tell you. You see? They don't want you to have this information that you're going to have after today's show. Hey, Nisa, how you doing? Good afternoon. Shout out to Nisa in the building. Good to see you. What's good, B Dolo? See, they don't want us to have these types of conversations because at the end of the day, they don't really want you to pay attention to your children. See, here in America, all they want you to do is maintain your child. They don't care how your child is actually raised and developed. No. Mm-mm. They would rather your child be underdeveloped. That way they can be a product of the system. You see? That way they could be a product of the system. They can become a cash crop. What's up, Miller? Greetings. You see? So let's get into it. Let's get into the first video. Like I said, we're going to start out with some history. We're going to start out with some history right here in America. This is right here in America, guys. Right here in America. Fair use, YouTube. Fair use. Fair use.
Strange 1980s toy, but the idea behind them is much older and much stranger. Before the dolls ever existed, old world postcards showed babies literally growing out of cabbages. Thousands of them. This imagery was common in the late 1800s and early 1900s. And here's where it gets unsettling. During that same time period, babies were actually being mailed through the US Postal Service. Not figuratively, literally shipped like packages. There were also advertisements that looked less like adoption and more like shopping. People browsing, selecting children, almost like inventory. Now consider something else from that era. Old photographs show entire cities already built, but strangely empty. Massive streets, grand buildings, very few people. Some researchers ask a disturbing question. What if children were being removed from families and redistributed to repopulate these found cities? Most people think Cabbage Patch Kids were just a strange 1980s toy, but the idea behind them is much older and much stranger. Before the dolls ever existed, old world postcards showed babies literally growing out of cabbages. Thousands of them. This imagery was common in the late 1800s and early 1900s. And here's where it gets unsettling. During that same time period, babies were actually being mailed through the US Postal Service. Not figuratively, literally shipped like packages. There were also advertisements that looked less like adoption and more like shopping. People browsing, selecting children, almost like inventory. Now consider something else from that era. Old photographs show entire cities already built, but strangely empty. Massive streets, grand buildings, very few people. Some researchers ask a disturbing question. What if children were being removed from families and redistributed to repopulate these found cities?
Y'all saw that? We just beginning. Shout out to everyone in the building. Shout out to my man Bucket. What's good, Bucket? What's going on, fam? Hey, Sin. Shout out to the cynical one. Got a top lovely lady mod in here today. Good to see you, Sin. I appreciate you. That's just the beginning. That's the history of the Cabbage Patch Kids. How many of y'all grew up on the Cabbage Patch Kids? How many of y'all had Cabbage Patch babies? That literally came from something that was happening in real life, where they put babies in the ground. Y'all just saw it for yourselves. That's a real thing. Y'all just saw how they just said they were shipping babies through the mail like packages. What is cabbage? Isn't cabbage a crop? They were shipping babies in the 18s and 1900s, shipping them through the mail. Right here in America. Right here in America. They was doing this to children in the 1900s. They was doing this type of stuff to children. This is what they was doing. Miller says, I'm aware, never had one. Shout out to my brother Papa Flock in the building. Salute, Brody. Appreciate your support, man. Bucket says, wow, my sister had a Cabbage Patch doll. Come on now. I know a lot of girls that grew up with them. Bet you they don't know the history of these toys. This is information we need to know, especially if we have children. Especially now. We need to know what our children are playing with. We need to know. We don't just need to give them a toy because it's a toy or because we played with it. No. We need to know what's behind this. What's the history behind this? Oh, it's just a toy. No, it's not. It's a depiction of the abuse of children. It's not just a toy. You see, it's not just a toy. Why would you let a kid play with a baby doll that's a reflection of a baby being abused? Why would you let your baby play with it? That's what a Cabbage Patch doll is. They had babies' heads popped up out the ground like cabbage, like heads of cabbage. That's where they got the name for the doll from. I just showed y'all this. I just showed y'all they had kids like a goddamn supermarket. People going and buying kids like it's a supermarket. This was going on here in America, right in this country. And y'all wonder how we get to Epstein Island. Y'all wonder how we get to Diddy Island, Star Island. Y'all wonder how we get to all of this debauchery. It started a long time ago, right here in this country. It started right here. Good afternoon, Naomi. How you doing? What up, Deez? Shout out to my man Deez in the building. He says a lot of my childhood cousins had that doll. Me too. Same here. I had 3. People was fighting to get them. Probably like they fought over the real children. Great point. Great point. That's a good question. That's a good question, Chop. Where were the parents? It's a good question. Maybe those parents gave those children up. And that's what they were doing with them. Maybe that's what happened. Miller says, what am I saying? When I choose this toy and give it to a child and a dark creation behind it. Exactly. What are you saying? That's something to think about. Absolutely, Miller. That's my point. That's something we should be thinking about. We should be thinking about what's behind these toys. Especially if we should be doing some research. Just like we're not going to let our children watch anything, we shouldn't let our children play with anything. Just like you're going to check the ratings of a movie to see if your child can watch it, you should be able to look up the history of the toys. Go and look up the history of the toy companies. You see, that way you know what your child is actually being fed psychologically. You see, whatever you digest things with your eyes before you put it in your mouth. Let me say that again. You digest things with your eyes before you ever put something in your mouth. So your children is digesting things when they're watching it. They're digesting things when they're listening. Understand that. So when you watching certain stuff, when your child is watching certain things, their mind is eating it up via the gateway of their eyes. Their mind is eating these cartoons up via their ears, via the sounds. This is why this is important. Because all of this stuff ties into who your child is going to become. You see? And what they want you to do is they don't want you to understand this stuff because that makes your child much more susceptible to being a cash crop. You see? This is why they want the parents to be as dumb as possible. This is why they want dumb people just having sex and producing children. Because they know that those parents are not going to properly teach those children anything, and they're going to grow up underdeveloped. So then that's when the programming from the outside can come in. And then your child become what the world wants him to become. Then your child become what the world wants her to become, not what you put in your child, because you didn't put anything in them. You see? Because you trusted the world enough to make your child into a decent person that you didn't teach them nothing. You didn't raise them. See, that's the world we in today, where they don't want you to raise your child. They want you to just pay for them. That's maintenance. Maintain. Just maintain. Don't raise them, because that's what the TV's for. See? That's what Disney Channel's for. See? That's what Nickelodeon is for. That's what toys are for. That's what the iPad is for. See, they're going to teach our kids. Why do you think a lot of these children are behind academically? It's because you parents are not reinforcing education. You know what you reinforce? Entertainment. You don't reinforce education. You reinforce entertainment. That's all you do. And that's the problem. This is why we don't know what's going on. This is why this whole Epstein thing is so big for y'all. This stuff been going on in America. Epstein ain't the only island. I just showed y'all it was an Epstein before Jeffrey Epstein. He was doing the same thing to kids, and he had his own island, and he wasn't a billionaire. His name was Frank Shelton. His island was in Michigan. His island was a sleepaway camp for kids. I used to go to sleepaway camps when I was young. I wasn't violated in that way, but how do I know it wasn't kids there being violated? See? Because that's what that man used his island for. To attract children there as a sleepaway camp, and then they there getting violated the whole time. Kidnapped and all types of stuff. Just like in Epstein Island. Just like on Epstein Island. See, what we like to do today is we like to just sit up and talk about everything. Oh, you heard about that? Okay, how you going to protect your child from it? See, this is the conversation we need to be having. How are we going to protect our children from this? The first thing, the first line of protection is prevention. That's the first line of protection, prevention. How do we prevent this stuff? By knowing about it. A lot of people don't know. That's why they can't do nothing, because they don't know. If you know and don't do nothing, then that's your fault. See the difference? A lot of parents don't know what to protect their children from. A lot of parents don't think that this country is out to get rid of their kids. A lot of people think America is a great place for your kids. No, this is the home of human trafficking. This place ain't safe with your children. It's not safe for adults. How is it safe for children? I'm getting ready to show y'all today. I just showed y'all the history of the Cabbage Patch Kids. They had a bunch of dead children, heads popped out like heads of cabbage. Those were dead babies. Those were dead babies that they turned into baby dolls. Now you playing with it. You don't even know you playing with the representation of a dead baby. You walking around hugging it, talking to it. This is my baby. When those were dead children. Just like the history of the black babies getting fed to alligators. This is real life. Children being fed to alligators. Yeah. 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 So we're going to have this conversation, y'all. Shout out to Brownie. Hey, Brownie, how you doing? Good to see you. Brownie says, all electronic entertainment should be educational based. No reason for babies to be on Roblox, TikTok, or Instagram when they can't read and don't know their numbers and letters. Exactly. 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 Shout out to my man, Self University. What's good, my brother? Totally agree, Brownie. They shouldn't be on no tablets unless they learning. It's a fact. How you doing, Monica? Monica says, right, protect all children. Monica says some parents don't heed red flags either. Because they too busy worried about what they got to do. They're too busy worried about what they got to do. Forgetting that they got to raise their children. You ain't just got to pay bills. You got to raise your child. Paying bills is not raising them. That's maintenance. Because you're going to have to pay bills whether you got children or not. So you paying bills is not raising your kids. You got to raise your kids. That means you got to put something in them. That means you got to teach them something. That means you got to teach them what to do and what not to do. You got to teach them this. See, a lot of parents don't understand this today. They think their job as a parent is to pay the bills, feed the kids, clothe the kids. That's it. You're not raising them. They're not developing. They're not developing. You just paying for them. You just paying for your kids, thinking you raising them. You're not raising them. You're not raising them. Shout out to Let Me Put the Tip in. Salute, Brody. Salute. Hey, Miss L'Oreal. We got two top lovely lady mods in the building today. Good afternoon. Great to see you. I appreciate your support. You see? So let's get to the second video. Let's get to the second video, y'all. We going there today. We going to break this down like a shotgun. We going to break this down like a shotgun. Fair use, YouTube. L'Oreal says facts. You got to tell your kids of what vices are out there to look out for in life, how to handle certain pressures of life too. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a fact. Let's get to it.
Says child love has nothing to do with the abuse of children. These children are not just kidnapped and in some cases bred by families as a cash crop. We have people in the United States of America that breed children in order to sell them. And when they are sold, they come without birth certificates, which means it's easier to kill them and have no one ask where they are. We're also importing children by the plane load. Again, children who have no documentation. It's not just child slavery or child sex abuse. It's also child torture because you have adrenalized blood, the whole blood drinking ceremony of the satanic world. It's also the use of children for harvesting body organs. And then you have ritual ceremonies and ritual murder, as well as incidental murder. That most organizations that end up being used to prey on children, Oxfam is a recent example, all of the United Nations organizations, the Boy Scouts of America, all of the child services agencies across the United States of America, they did not start out as organizations to prey on children, but they attract pedophiles. And ultimately, pedophiles end up rising in the ranks and controlling those organizations, so that an organization that initially started out in the service of children becomes an organization that is in fact hunting children.
If you are looking for the hidden knowledge, if you want to find out who...
What did I tell y'all? I told y'all. And we just beginning. We are just beginning. This is right here in our country. This is why they don't want the Epstein files opened up. Because with this conversation opening up, Pandora's box done opened. Now look how much history we can find about this stuff going on here in America. Look what we're finding out. Mighty R. What's good, Mighty R? He says, remember when they started to take discipline away from the parents in the late 1990s? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. See? This is what's going on. Children are being bred to be sold. Right here in this country. They're being bred to be sold. Let's watch it again, y'all. Let's watch it again.
The politics, and almost every facet of life. This ebook...
But no, that's not what the scripture says. Yeah. In Genesis 1:28, God says, come let us. Who's us? Come let us make man in our image, after our likeness. He's already here. Let's make him be like us. So let's cross our DNA with this creature we call the Neanderthal creature. And so he did. He created man. And then later on, a couple of chapters later, God said to whoever is us, now look what you have done. We have created man in our image and our likeness. And now he is able to do all kinds of things. And little by little, it starts changing that creature until one day we come into the world with lasers and beautiful music and rockets and all kinds of incredible knowledge and technology. Where did we get it? We got it from the gods. The gods in the Bible is called the Elohim. So I'm saying today, we humans look like the God who created us. The church teaches that God created us, but no, that's not what the scripture says. Yeah.
Now, I know y'all probably wondering why I played that. How you doing, April Lynn? Shout out to April Lynn in the building. That's because that was Jordan Maxwell. If y'all don't know who that is Jordan Maxwell. Jordan Maxwell is actually a part of the clergy of the Illuminati. Jordan Maxwell. Jordan Maxwell is an agent. He's an agent. He came out back in the mid to late 2000s, and he was supposedly a whistleblower. If y'all remember Jesse Ventura, you know, you remember those crop of conspiracy theorists back in the 2000s, back in the early to mid 2000s, you know, after 9/11 and all of that, you had all those conspiracy guys coming out. Jordan Maxwell was one of them. And Jordan Maxwell was one of the ones I watched the most because he was giving up the secrets to the spiritual stuff. That's why I listened to Jordan Maxwell. Jordan Maxwell's a Satanist. Okay? See, I played that so y'all can get a glimpse on how these people think. See, you need to know how these people think, so you could stop taking this stuff so lightly and taking what's happening so lightly. Brownie says, I like Jesse. Yeah, Jesse was cool. But see, you know why they put Jesse out there, Brownie? They put Jesse out there because they didn't want to deal with Alex Jones. See, Alex Jones is the original Jesse Ventura. Alex Jones was part of the same group of conspiracy theorists like Jordan Maxwell. It was guys, I'm gonna tell you who I'm gonna name a couple of these guys. You got a guy by the name of Jeff Rentz. He had a website back in the day called Rentz.com. Jeff Rentz. He was a whistleblower. Jordan Maxwell. Alex Jones. Anthony Hilda. Now, these are guys that worked with the actual government. That's the only way you can be called a whistleblower. You can only be called a whistleblower if you work for these people. But some of these guys were also agents. They were actually sent out to give us certain information to make us think we learning some secrets when that's the secrets they gave us. See? You said Alex Jones is the real one? Yeah, Alex is a real one. He a real one. Mighty R says they still attacking Alex to this day. Yup. Art Bell. I never heard of Art Bell. David Icke. Yeah, that's another one. Bob. Shout out to my man Bob in the building. David Icke, he was one of them. Salute to my brother Bob in the building. L'Oreal says, I don't understand why they started whistleblowing. A lot of them started whistleblowing because they actually started feeling guilty for what they were a part of. Whoever heard of William Cooper? Whoever heard of William Cooper? William Cooper is a whistleblower, the guy who wrote the book Behold a Pale Horse. He worked, right, for the intelligence agency. He worked for naval intelligence. If you read the book Behold a Pale Horse, you remember in the beginning of the book was dedicated to his family because he knew that one day he might just never come home again because he was a whistleblower. And a lot of this stuff, they don't want us to talk about. This is why they get rid of these whistleblowers. This is why. Hold on, y'all. Give me 1 second. 1 second, y'all. All right, we back, y'all. Shout out to everybody in the building, by the way. Let's get into it. Now let's get into it. Let's get into
it. A psychologist, originally from New Zealand. His primary area of interest was in hermaphrodites, what we now call intersex, a condition that afflicts one in about 5,000 infants. He was the first to open a clinic in the United States at Johns Hopkins University. The Reimers were a blue-collar family from Canada who gave birth to 2 healthy twin boys, Bruce and Brian. When the family decided to circumcise the boys, a malfunction caused Bruce's penis to be completely burnt off. Devastated, they decided to seek the help of John Money, the esteemed doctor from Johns Hopkins.
The Reimers see Dr. Money. He said to them, "You must raise Bruce as a girl. We're going to castrate him. We're going to do some preliminary genital surgery so that his genital area looks more like a girl. You're going to rename him, give him a girl's name, dress him in pink frilly dresses, give her dolls, and he's never to know that he was actually a boy." He's stating things in a definitive way, as if he has all the research, as if this is an established fact, which of course it was not. And this is a theme that we are seeing runs through the whole gender issue. And I really want to emphasize this because it is happening, Dr. Gold, to this day, to this very moment, that parents are being told and being instructed things as if they are established facts, which they are not.
John Money began to present this case in the medical literature and to the public as proof of his theory. He was elevated as an incredible pioneer in our understanding of gender, and the case for the Reimer twins was proof of it. According to Money, Brenda was thriving.
This was all a hoax. Brenda was not doing well. Brenda was never feminine. Bruce was even more masculine than his twin brother. He was aggressive. He preferred his brother's toys. He didn't want to wear dresses. He would pull his dresses off. Brenda did not fit in at all at school. At a certain point, Bruce became suicidal. He realized he was attracted to girls. He had been in therapy for many, many years. One clinician, one psychiatrist that said, no, we have to tell him the truth. His first reaction, as he described later on in his life, was relief. I'm not crazy. I'm a boy. We have to mention Dr. John Money.
A psychologist, originally from New Zealand. His primary area of
See, y'all think this stuff is a game, man. I don't have this platform for nothing. And I take what I do on this channel very serious. See, we just cracked the code on all this gender confusion. We just found out that it's a gender hoax. All of these it's a hoax. It was something that was created by a scientist that was due to malpractice. They was experimenting on these 2 twin boys. And during the experiment, one of the boys' genitals got burnt off. So this doctor to cover up his malpractice because he was experimenting on these boys. This is why I keep telling y'all got to cut the racial talk out. Because a lot of this wicked stuff that's going on here in America, it happened to white folks. It ain't just happened to us. It happened to white folks too. They experimented on white children too. Let's stop making this a race conversation, because it's not. Because if you know the history, they experimented on white children too. All that autism stuff, that was given to white children before it hit the black community. See, when you know American history, you won't be talking this racial stuff. Because you'll understand that America, right, has destroyed everyone. Everyone that has came in the path of America have been destroyed, have been traumatized. Everyone, whether you're from here or you're not. America has traumatized the whole world, no matter what race you are. If you brought your ass here to America, you have gotten traumatized in some form or fashion. So if we're going to teach, we need to teach correctly. If we're going to give out this information, we got to give it out to where it's understood from an educational perspective. Now, we just found out that a doctor by the name of John Money from New Zealand is the doctor who was behind all of these gender politics. Dr. John Money. He convinced a family to raise one of their sons as a girl due to doctor malpractice. Y'all think this is a game? Come on, y'all. OG Kicks. What's up, OG Kicks? Trying to wipe out people all to gain glory. Facts. Facts, sis. Bob says, white children had autism. Black children got the belt for being weird. Shout out to Bob. Let's watch this video again. Dr. John Money. He is the man. This man right here is the man behind the gender hoax. It's him right here. This guy, John Money. Let's get to the next video. Oh, not this one. There we go. Fair use, YouTube. Shout out to everyone that's in the building. Great to see y'all. Let's get back to the videos. Y'all know how we do. Shark Sims. Peace, Shark Sims. Peace, family. Right. What a name. His name is John Money. Oh, you better believe it. You better believe it, Chop. Let's get into it.
Disorder. It was so rare that we all just considered it something, in the books, in the textbooks. Gender identity disorder in the past was primarily in boys and men. 20 years ago, Dr. Gold, there were only 3 clinics that existed in order to help these families with kids who had gender identity disorder. 3 clinics in the whole world. And those clinics were seeing maybe 10 kids a year. And now we have a situation, for example, the gender identity disorder service in London, the Tavistock Clinic, that was recently shut down because it was shown that what they were doing was simply unsafe. They had their most recent data from a few years ago. There were over 5,000 referrals in that year.
When I was in medical school and in training, this was not only very, very rare, not only really kind of like middle-aged men who've been cross-dressing for a long time, but there were no children. And if there was I'm not saying there was no children with gender dysphoria ideas, but in terms of medicalizing them, it was verboten. You understood and were told by all professional societies, we don't do this with children. Now you're having an entirely different population present itself, and we're still calling it gender dysphoria.
Yeah.
We're saying people who are mostly female, who are coming up with this, very, very quickly, post-adolescence, not as like little children, et cetera, but we're calling it the same thing. And I think that that's a language problem. I think it's a collusion. I can't figure out why we're calling this gender dysphoria. It should be, in my mind, rapid onset gender dysphoria.
Rapid onset is kids who were, most of them, completely comfortable with their bodies. They may have been tomboys. They may have been feminine boys, but they were fine with their bodies. And then all of a sudden, because they've been exposed to this idea left and right, and because there's secondary gain that's involved, in other words, it's called kind of social gains from it, and they're, that they choose to explore it and it's encouraged, and they may have heard about it from their guidance counselor. I've had patients who tell me that they never even heard of such a thing until they sat down with a guidance counselor because they were anxious or depressed. And the guidance counselor said, have you ever thought that maybe you're a boy? You're actually a boy. And it all starts from there. Then called gender identity disorder. It was so
Hey y'all, do y'all know what we're uncovering today? Do y'all really understand the magnitude of this information that y'all getting today? Do y'all know that this is one of the biggest problems amongst our youth today? Gender identity. Guess what we're finding out? That it's all a hoax. It's all a social experiment. This stuff was made up. It's not real. But how many of us got teenage children that's battling with their gender identity? Huh? How many celebrity children do we see dealing with this stuff? Huh? Kevin Gates and his daughter just went viral. His daughter, who's a girl, but she looks like she looks more aggressive. And her boyfriend is a femme, but he's a boy. Gender identity. This is a big goddamn game for people to put money in their pocket at the expense of your children's livelihoods. They running around creating all these fake curriculums, all of these fake classes for us to take. And this stuff is complete hogwash. It's no scientific fact behind none of this stuff. It's all theories that were made up. Gender politics. It's not real. They done pushed a false narrative on us so they could be able to sell this stuff to our children. Which ultimately does what? Destroys the family construct. You see? You see why, as parents, we have to understand this? Because we have to be able to break this down to our children like this. See? We have to be able to break this down and be able to explain this to our children. It's complete malarkey. Complete malarkey. Complete malarkey. Earl says, yup, bag loads of children are being recycled through the Hollywood system. And that's just Hollywood. Let's talk about the foster kid system. Earl. Child Protective Services. Let's talk about adoption agencies. You talking about Hollywood and entertainment. That's those kids. You have to make it there. What about all the kids that's tortured as adopted kids? Let's talk about the everyday children. Because you gotta make it through a whole lot before you become a Hollywood kid. What about the kids that's in the system? The system kids. You heard what that woman said. You got guidance counselors in school that's pushing this stuff on these kids. Oh, have you ever thought if that you was a boy? What? What? Shout out to my brother Del Debonair in the building. Peace, fam. Great to see you, my brother. Salute to you. Appreciate your support. See, this conversation might not be that important to y'all as parents because y'all are okay with your child representing the world instead of representing your family. See? So I can understand why some of this might not be too offensive to y'all. Some of y'all may not find this to be a problem. Some of y'all may think that your child is not a cash crop. Some of y'all may think this. Some of y'all do. So I'm not mad if this is how y'all think. But I'm just here to put y'all up on game. I'm here to let y'all know what's going on in y'all country while y'all sitting around focused on all this other stuff, with your mind being consumed with all this other stuff. Don't forget that this is going on. Don't forget, especially as parents, we need to be worried about, we need to be paying attention to this. We need to be paying attention to this. This stuff needs to matter. See, a lot of parents are reactive. A lot of parents don't want to be proactive. See, this is the reason for us doing these types of shows and bringing this type of information out so you can learn how to be proactive and not just be ready to go and blow up the goddamn world when something happened to your child. Because you've been running around thinking nothing gonna happen to your child. Because you ain't been thinking on that level. Because you don't think your child is important enough for somebody to want to do something to them. This is how y'all run around and think. So y'all not thinking about this stuff. See? And that's the problem. It's too many children running around in society today with no parents who care about them. That's the problem. Shout out to Old Head TV. Appreciate you, Old Head. Salute. April Lynn says, CPS is a corrupt organization that puts people's children in harm's way by placing them in abusive households, and that place them in an abusive household, and cycle constantly continues. Facts. 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 CPS, adoption agencies. See, all of this gender stuff, right, also allowed predators who identified a certain way, gender-wise, it allowed them access to children. Also, y'all didn't hear about that story with the gay male couple who in jail right now doing 200 years because of all of the abuse that they did to those two little boys that they adopted as their children. They were doing sex rituals on those boys. They in prison right now doing 100 years. Both of them. And they were white men. Two gay white boys. They adopted two white babies and was doing sex rituals with these boys, with these babies. They got 100 years. Both of them, 100 years. So y'all can't be playing with these gender politics and playing with these people. Because a lot of these people are demonic. Little do y'all know. Yes. Yes. Let me see if I can find an article real quick. Let me see if I can find an article real quick, L'Oreal. So y'all know I'm not capping. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Let's pull it up. Let's pull it up. Shout out to everyone that's in the building. If you're coming in here, make sure you hit the like button, please. Also hit the share button. Very much appreciated. Here it is. New York Post. This is 2024, y'all. Look at these demons. Two demons. Two demons. But you wonder why we say these people shouldn't have kids around them. Sick people. Two mook males. Gay couple who showed off picture-perfect family gets 100 years in prison for the horrific grape of adopted sons. These were two demons. Two demons. They ain't just want to have sex with each other. They wanted to have sex with the kids. Why they couldn't just have sex with each other? That's what kills me with these weirdos. A Georgia couple from Georgia. From Georgia. Look at these demons. Look at her. William and Zachary Zulak. Sound like some Russians. Zulak. That sound like some Russians or some Yugoslavians. Some Slavics. Were each sentenced to 100 years in prison without the possibility of parole after being convicted of the sickening sexual abuse of their two adopted sons. Look at this. Look at this, y'all. This is coming out the adoption agency. They ain't get to Hollywood. Look at this sick. Look at this. This is sick. Look at him. Look at him, y'all. The boys, two brothers who are now 12 and 10 years old, were adopted from a Christian special needs agency. Look at this. Look at this, y'all. The boys were adopted from a Christian special needs agency. That's where these monsters got them from. That's where they got them from. These two warlocks. They got them from a bunch of other witches and warlocks. These are special needs agency. We better, man, listen, man. Kenny Matt. What's good, Kenny Matt? You know how we do, bro. Shout out to Kenny Matt. Brownie says they putting kids into AI and doing digital simulation. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. For sure, for sure. For sure, for sure. They're creating their own corn. That's a fact. Using AI. That's a fact. What you said, April? April says, don't forget the Hart family in 2018 killing their adoptive children over the cliff. See this? See this? They were a gay woman couple. See this? See this? Naomi says, no way that should have been allowed. You know what happens, Naomi? The agency doesn't do extensive background checks on the parents who adopting these kids. And then some of these agencies are just fronts. And they're actually selling the kids. They're sacrificing them. See? So some of these agencies are just fronts when they're really just looking for the perfect people to sacrifice these kids to. You see? Shout out to my brother Dale Debonair. I appreciate the super chat, bro. He says the child transitioning epidemic has gone on so long that we now have a generation of adults who have transitioned back, but are now permanently scarred for medication and surgery. Absolutely, my brother. Shout out to my brother Dale Debonair. That's a fact. That is an absolute fact. I don't remember the name of the show, bro, but I did a show where I showed that they did this to this young boy. Turned him into a girl. They convinced him. They convinced his parents. And he started taking puberty blockers at like 10 years old. We showed the whole story. He's paralyzed and everything. You see? Look at these people, man. These are monsters. Monsters. They got 100 years. This is what happens in America to children. This is what's happening. But we still want to talk about what? Stuff that don't matter. See, they want us to focus on the hypersensitive conversation, so you're not paying attention to all the sorcery and all the witchcraft that they doing. See? See, when they get you to talk about what they want you to talk about, that's witchcraft in itself. That's witchcraft in itself. You don't even know that, though. You're already a victim of witchcraft and don't know. Because you talking about what they want you to talk about. They want everybody talking about Carmelo Anthony and talking about that trial. They want everybody focused on that. The hypersensitive stuff, the things that's going to tap into people's emotions. Meanwhile, there's a whole nother thing going on behind that. See, they want y'all to keep arguing about race. They want you to keep having that argument. They want you to keep having that argument. That way you don't know what's really going on. They want you to keep having that silly ass argument. They want you to. They want you to. You know why? So you could grow up and raise your children to be racist. So the moment a white police officer talk to your black son and your black son get out of his body because that's a white man, because he was taught to hate white people, because that's what his parents taught him, they're going to gun his ass down. And it's going to be justified based on his behavior. See, that's what y'all don't want to hear as black people. That's what you don't want to hear. And that's why more black kids going to keep getting killed by the police. Because you teaching your kids that dumb racist shit, so when a white officer get to talking to them and he get to acting all stupid, why you sorry? Yeah, get to doing that dumb shit. And then you think the cop ain't justified in shooting. Oh, he was just talking. He was just being emotional. He can't act the way he, if that was a white boy, still talking that dumb shit. Do y'all know the police just killed a white boy down in Fort Worth? He's a white boy, a gang member in the hood with a bunch of blacks. They just killed him. The police killed him for no reason. No, they killed him because he was a well-known gang member. But they didn't have no probable cause to kill this young man. He was a white boy down in Fort Worth. Look it up. His father was a well-known gang member back in the day in Fort Worth. And the police department hated his father and they killed his son. His son was a white boy, mixed. His son is mixed. Mama black, daddy white. What y'all talking about? This is what I mean. We not having a conversation that's relevant to our children. That race, our children don't want to hear nothing about black and white. You gonna teach your kids about race? You gonna teach your kids that stupid shit now in today's time? Now? That's stupid. See, if you teaching that shit, you not around the youth. You don't know what's going on in the world. You don't even know that the whites and the blacks gang bang with each other now. They gang bang together. The white boy is in the set. And he just as gangster. And he putting in work, if not more. He's a child, just like your child. That might be your son's best friend. We need to know what's really going on. See, because I'm getting ready to show y'all why they want all our sons in prison. I'm getting ready to show y'all. See, you still talking that shit that's not going to keep your son out of jail. it's going to send him to jail faster. See, I know. I was on that racial shit. Y'all forgot? For my family is Muslim. I grew up on that black power shit. My family Nation of Islam. I grew up on that white man and enemy shit. I grew up on that. I lived that. You niggas just be talking it on the internet. I was raised like that. I was raised to hate the white man. Me and my cousins, we grew up like that. Y'all niggas be talking on the internet. I did this outside. I disrespected police for real. This is what I had me and my friends doing on the block. Police can't pull up on us and touch us. Don't touch me, cracker. That was me. And was willing to go to jail. See, y'all be talking this stuff for ratings and for emotions and nah, bro. I really was on that. Ain't no when the police pull up, we get scared. No. Soon as they pull up, what you want? Don't touch me. Excuse me, step out. No, I'm not getting out of nothing. No. Don't touch me. Don't put your hands on me. See, y'all be talking on the internet. That shit ain't get us nowhere. You know where that got us? Sent down to the precinct for disorderly conduct. You know how many disorderly conduct citations I got? You know how many times I just had to go to the precinct and they just made me sit in the precinct for being disorderly? Dumb shit. Shit that didn't get me nowhere. Y'all think that shit gonna get y'all? It ain't gonna get y'all nowhere, and it ain't gonna protect your children. It ain't gonna protect you from nothing. That's what me and my homies had to learn. We doing all this shit for what? Ain't nobody backing us. Nobody in the hood was backing what we was doing. They was telling, yo, chill, listen to the police. That's a lot of you niggas. Y'all talk that shit when the police not around. Yeah, because they've been doing this shit to us for too long. And yeah, we got to fight back. And yeah, nah. We was them for real. When the police pull up, guess what? Them same niggas that was just agreeing with us, when the police pull up, yo, chill. Yo, don't say nothing. Just shut up. Just be quiet. Fake revolutionaries. Putting our children in harm's way. You ain't gonna stand up and die for nothing. You ain't gonna stand up against no police. You ain't never had no police officer put no gun to your head because they was threatening you. You ain't never had that. Y'all just be up here talking, trying to be revolutionaries on the internet. You ain't never had no police officers in your neighborhood threatening of you. Because the shit you stand on. Come on. You think I want my son doing that shit? No. No, because it's a way around all of that. See? It's called not being in that environment where you have to be that way. See, a lot of y'all wouldn't be talking the way y'all talking if y'all didn't grow up where y'all grew up at. That's life. But see, now it's time to focus on these children. Says, I'm glad you got away from all of that. That's because of God's grace and mercy. I could have been dead like some of my friends. That's due to God's grace and mercy, Chop. I could have been dead like some of my friends. I could have went to jail like some of my friends. I got friends I grew up with that did 20 years in prison, Chop. And they home now. I got friends that did 10, 15, 20 plus years. And I'm not that old, Chop. So imagine doing half your life in prison. The longest you ever been on the street, you was probably 6 years old, 7 years old. Because you start going to jail at 12. And they stopped till you was 39, 40. See this? See, this is why I won't teach my son this type of shit. He need to learn what we talking about today, about what's going on in the world. So you don't get tricked into doing the silly stuff. You need to know that all of this stuff out here is to get into your mind and to control the way you think. That's what this is about. Del Debonair says, I have worked on an island whose population is majority white for 3 years now. The police know my vehicle and have not pulled me once. They pull white people over and arrest them all the time. Shout out to my brother Del Debonair. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. Don't listen. If you teach your child that racial shit, I'm going to show you where they're going to end up. I'm going to show you where they're going to end up because I'm getting ready to show you where my uncles and all them ended up that was talking that shit. I'm getting ready to show you right now. I'm getting ready to show you. I'm getting ready to show you where they're going to end up at. I'm getting ready to show you. That's where they're going to end up at. And this is what happens. Now, in this video that I'm getting ready to play, right? They getting ready to give you the history of what happens in prisons. They getting ready to break down the history of what went down in one prison right here in America. Y'all check this out. Fair use, YouTube. Shout out to everyone in the building. Make sure y'all hit the like button, please. The donation links are going across the screen. We have Cash App back. The Cash App is going across the screen. Also, we have Zelle. If y'all would like to Zelle or Cash App, it is going across the screen. Thank y'all so much. Make sure y'all hit the like button, please. Let's get to it. Check this out.
I was used.
How did you make your money?
Being tested, being a human guinea pig. They cut my back, cut some pieces out, layers of skin. I was on the LSD test. They had a test back then where they were burning guys with radiation.
Yeah. I had took the toothpaste test in the mid-60s at a very early age. I lost all of my teeth by the time I was 23 years old.
We've seen Holmesburg becoming a house of horror, and we've seen the doctors becoming Frankensteins.
They had bandages on them, on their arms and their backs and their chests. Right away, it gave me a chill.
The ominous walls of Philadelphia's Holmesburg prison.
Experiments on prison inmates in Pennsylvania.
It really was the Kmart of human experimentation.
Living conditions was bad.
Hundreds of former inmates who, for pay, had agreed to participate in medical tests.
Caged guinea pigs, now suffering the health consequences years, even decades later.
Horrendous experiments, surgical procedures that were really horrific.
Funding from major pharmaceutical companies.
The evidence is incontrovertible.
We're living proof that it happened.
And what went on there was nearly forgotten.
Why were these records destroyed?
For 23 years, a Philadelphia prison was used as a human laboratory. The subjects were mostly black men. Some of the major sponsors were Johnson & Johnson, Dow Chemical, and the United States Army. The doctor who ran it built a celebrated career off of it. No one went to jail, and the institutions that funded it never paid a dime in restitution. Holmesburg Prison sits in the northeast corner of Philadelphia. It opened in 1896. Red brick, guard towers, a wagon wheel design that let officers monitor multiple cell blocks from a central hub. The men inside called it the Terror Dome. By 1951, Holmesburg was housing roughly 3,000 men, most of them awaiting trial, not yet convicted of anything, most of them black, most of them poor, most of them trapped by a bail system that made poverty its own kind of sentence. Some were locked up for minor offenses like shoplifting or disorderly conduct. If you couldn't afford 10% of your bail, you sat, you waited. That could mean months, it could mean years. There was almost no work inside. If you were lucky enough to get a job pushing a broom across a cell block floor, you earned somewhere between 25 and 50 cents a day.
A lot of guys in Holmesburg Prison was paying heavy prices because they had no money, and money at that time was cigarettes. Some guys were being raped, some guys were being stabbed, and some guys were being brutally treated because they didn't have money. So I knew that I did need money in places such as Holmesburg. 10 cents a day, 25 cents a day at tops. And the experiments paid, the less they would pay is like $1 for some tests, and some experiments that went on paid other things. I still believe what had happened with all the experiments I was on, they gave us chicken fee because we were in need for money. This was a well put together project where they saw the situation, they examined it, they studied it, and they knew what to do to get top performance from all of us. So I think what they did was they played us, and they played us well.
In 1951, a University of Pennsylvania dermatologist named Albert Kligman walked into Holmesburg Prison for the first time. He was there to examine an outbreak of athlete's foot among the inmates, routine on paper. But when Kligman walked through those cell blocks and looked at the men, hundreds of them, idle, pinned in, what he later described seeing was not a population of human beings in distress. He said, "All I saw before me were acres of skin. It was like a farmer seeing a fertile field for the first time." That quote has followed Kligman through history.
Now, y'all hear this? This was a prison in Philadelphia. Y'all wonder why Philly niggas so crazy. Y'all wonder why they so crazy. They was in jail getting experimented on. This is in the 50s. From the 50s to the 70s. This demon, disguised as a doctor, walked in there and said he saw acres of skin. He didn't even see humans. He didn't even see humans. Just like how they look at children. See this? He saw acres of skin. Acres of skin. Brownie says this is the doctor that discovered retinol by testing on black inmates. That's one of my Black history and beauty topics. Shout out to Brownie. See? See this? Look at what this man testing led to. Brownie is in the cosmetic industry. This man was a dermatologist. Brownie's in the cosmetic industry. He discovered retinol, which is something they use today in the beauty industry. Y'all see what I'm talking about? See why we need to have these conversations? Look at how they travel into other things into other industries. See why we need to have this conversation? So if the men in prison was getting tested and experimented on in the 50s, you think they're not doing it now in prison? You think they're not experimenting and offering these young men money to get experimented on in prison? Remember, I did the show like a year or two ago where I showed the article where they was allowing sex changes in prison. Remember, we did the show about that, where they were allowing men to go get sex changes and they were performing the procedures in prisons. Why you think they want our sons in prison? Why? Why you think they want our boys in prison? Why you think they want to stress us out so much that so we crash out and end up in prison? Why? See, they not going to just make your son a slave and work him to death. No, they're going to do experiments on him. And actually, they're going to offer him a way out. They're going to just say, hey, if you want to make your life in prison easier, you could just go get a sex change and turn into a girl. You could just go turn into a girl. You could just go to jail and turn to a girl if you want to. America's biggest cash crop is children. Children. That's what this is all about. That's what all this Epstein stuff, all of this stuff is about. Children. Children. Brownie says the only reason why the Gov shut him down temporarily is because of paperwork. There you go. He didn't have the proper licensing, but they let him start back up a while later. Right, after he got his paperwork. Absolutely. That's all Dr. Cheyenne Bryant had to do. Go get your goddamn paperwork. Brownie says he never got any penalties or consequences for the damage he did. Absolutely, he didn't. No, especially when a lot of those guys, that's why the guy who was being interviewed, he said, we chose to be a part of those studies because we couldn't make no money in prison. He said the only way you can make money in prison is selling cigarettes. And that was hard to come by. So a lot of guys was signing up for those studies so they could get paid, so they could go buy food and stuff. That's how they was making money, getting experimented on. Dale Debonair says, I worked in the prison system. If inmates didn't take the vaccine, their families could not visit them. Prisons are also pipelines for cheap labor for countries, for counties, states, and private companies. Facts. Facts. Absolutely. Bro says in California prisons, women were coming up pregnant from male inmates who were in the middle of their transition. They started issuing out condoms. I heard about that too, bro. How the so-called transgenders was in the women's prisons getting the women pregnant. How crazy is that? How crazy is that? It's filthy work, Bucket. Facts. Facts. But these conversations today are the conversations that the algorithm is pushing people away from. They're directing your attention with telling you what to talk about. They're directing your attention. Because if they can direct your attention, they can direct how you feel. And if they can direct and control how you feel, they can then determine what you're going to do. So they're already prepared. Because they've created these situations to prepare themselves. Y'all don't understand war. Y'all don't understand warfare. They promote all of this stuff, this stuff that's emotionally triggering, so they can get you to do something. So then you're not focused on what you should be looking at. See? And what they won't want us to know is they don't want us to know that we're in a time in society now that if we really don't begin to understand what's really going on out here, we're going to be lost in the sauce. And that when things start to really come down the pipe, these heavy things, we're not going to know what to do because we're not going to be prepared. And that's the plan. See, everybody want to talk about the mark. Oh, the mark of the beast, the mark of the beast. Guess how they're going to get the majority of people to take the mark? The majority of the people are going to take the mark because they're not going to be prepared for when it comes. See, we too busy being selfish. We too busy focusing on what they're telling us to focus on. So when society collapses, because they got to collapse society in order to change the currency. See, y'all don't understand this. They have to collapse, mean bankrupt society, in order to change the currency. So y'all think that's not coming. And bankrupting the country is not going to take 1 year. Huh? You don't think we're going to go into... Are we prepared as families for the next Great Depression? See, because a lot of y'all think, oh, we in America. Where you think the goddamn Great Depression happened? Where y'all think the Great Depression happened? Oh, you do know in 2029... Excuse me. In 2029, you do know that that's 100 years from the Great Depression. You do know after the Great... Y'all not thinking about any of this, right? It's 2026. So if they did schedule 100-year depression from the last depression, we got 3 years, y'all. We got 3 years. Let's just say that. We got 3 years. What up, Zuma? Shout out to my brother Zuma. $1929, 2029. That's 100 years. Are you ready for a Great Depression? Huh? Can the strong, independent mindset survive in a Great Depression? Can all of this rugged individualism survive in a Great Depression, or are you going to need your family? See why we need to go back to being family? See why? People who made it during the Great Depression were families. You're only going to make it if you're in a family. You're going to die alone. You won't be able to survive on your own. You ready for that? See? I just want to put that, I just want to lay that on your brain. We got 3 years. It's 2026. We got 3 years. 3 years. Salute to my brother, the underrated one. Salute, my brother. Great to see you, bro. L'Oreal says no. Independent minds will not. Brownie says the depression will bounce back quicker with AI, but it will be a huge wealth trend. And AI is not going to help the depression, Brownie. AI is going to be what we're coming into out of the depression. AI is used to create the new world that they want us to live in. AI is not designed to help the old world. AI is designed to get rid of the old way of doing things. So AI is not going to speak in the depression quicker. An AI society is what we're going to walk into out of the depression. So they're not going to turn everything back on until the AI has secured our society enough for it to run on its own. You see? That's what the AI is for. The AI is a weapon. It's a weapon. It's a tool, but it's also a weapon. Zuma says, I'm preparing and getting my little ragtag family together. Shout out to bro. As you should, bro. Dale says, facts. Only God-centered families are going to survive what's coming. L'Oreal says, no, we're not ready. Majority of us can't let go of using each other. Come on, talk. The new world. The new world order. That's what AI is for, Brownie. When we come out of the depression, this is why we're going to have to take the mark. The mark is going to be the way that you operate in the new world, which is controlled by the AI. Oh, I got a little muscle. Oh, got a little muscle. Got a little muscle. But that's what that's for. The AIs, they're not going to use the AI during the depression time. The AI is for the new world. That's what the mark represents, AI. It ain't going to be no more credit cards. All your financial information is going to be in the mark. It's going to be in the barcode. It's going to be in the mark. All your financial information, your stock portfolios, everything is going to be within the mark. All your bank accounts, your crypto accounts, it's all going to be on the mark. And that's how you're going to be able to buy, sell, and trade from the mark. See? That's what we're going to have to do, big bro. We're going to have to depend on them. The internet was developed by the U.S. military. Everything is a weapon. Facts. Facts, bro. People don't know that. that the internet was created by the military. It was used for communication purposes. They been had emails. They been was emailing each other. That's what the internet was used for, communication. The fourth industrial revolution. They started doing AI algorithms trading back in 2020 when the market dropped that time. See why they did it? It makes sense why they did it, right? See, all of that crypto stuff during COVID was a test run. It was a test run. Some people got a lot of money during this test run. A lot of people lost their money too. It was a big test run. The big test run. Shout out to Double C. Salute, bro. That's the blockchains they've been setting up since 2020. See? That's crazy. It's crazy. Double C says, this almost reminds me of the show American Gods. The mark is when you as a person will have to be a tokenized commodity. Absolutely. 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 So we better start paying attention to stuff that we spoke about today. We better start understanding where we at and where we are in this world. Where we are. What's going on. And just remember, this right here is the ultimate history book. This is the ultimate reference. And I'm telling y'all this because I learned this over time. That anything you could talk about in life, you can refer it back to here. It's in here. Anything that happened in the world, anything that happened in anybody's life, it's a story about it in here. This is the greatest reference book. And this is something I just learned. I'm not saying like I always knew. No, it's something I'm learning. That's the book you can always refer back to for evidence, for facts, for confirmation. It's in there. It's in there. So you don't need to go to no library. Go get your Bible. It's right in there. It's right in there. You want to know about relationships? It's in there. You want to learn about what's going to happen in this country? What's going to happen in the world? It's in there. It's right in there. It's in there. It is. It's in there. The ultimate history book. The ultimate reference book. Anything you want to know about life. That's the ultimate reference book, y'all. And I just want to put that out there. All right. So shout out to y'all. I appreciate y'all pulling up today. If y'all enjoyed the show, before y'all get up out of here, please hit the like button. Hit the like button before we get up out of here, fam. Hit that like button. Share the show. I worked in IT. AI is being prepared to be weaponized. They need to earn the people trust in AI first. There it is. There it is. Shout out to bro. Because what? A ritual doesn't work without agreement. See, they can't do nothing to us without our agreement. The devil can't convince you to do anything unless you agree. See how it's all connected? All the devil got to do is get you to agree. Convince you. Convince you. Get you to agree. See, once you agree, now it's on you. See, once you agree, you can't blame them no more. You can't blame them no more because you agreed. You agreed. You can't blame them no more. You agreed to it. They didn't force it. It don't matter how they got you to agree. That don't matter. You agreed. It don't matter how the devil's a trickster. It don't matter how he did it. He got you to sin. So you sinned. So you can't use that as an excuse. Oh, but he tricked me. Yeah, you allowed yourself to be tricked. You have to agree. You have to agree. You have to agree. And guess how they're getting us to agree with AI? Relationships. Yeah. You want an AI girlfriend, don't you, buddy? You want an AI girlfriend. See how they get us to agree? See how they get us to agree? You want an AI girlfriend. Got him. Got him. See how they get you to agree? Huh? Got him. The father of lies. We can't come together to make a 3-month plan. They have a 30-year plan. They prepared. They're prepared. So shout out to y'all. I appreciate y'all for pulling up. Like I said, if y'all enjoyed the show, the donation links are going across the screen. We have Cash App back. You can hit me up at Cash App, Bella Rosa 77. That's $ Bella Rosa 77 on Cash App. Also, I got the Zelle up there if you do not have PayPal or Venmo. All right. I just expanded it for you guys. So if you guys want to financially support, you can. All right. Shout out to Smitty. Appreciate you, Smitty. Shout out to everyone for pulling up. If you enjoyed today's show, before you get up out of here, if you're new here, make sure you subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you're notified every time we drop some content over here, man. Hit that like button. Hit that share button before we get up out of here. Don't forget to get down in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think of today's show. Welcome to all the new supporters. If you're new here, welcome to Sheep Stay Sleep TV. I'm y'all host, DS1 Ross, of course, and we'll be back tomorrow right here on Sheep Stay Sleep TV at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Shout out to my top lovely lady mods and all of the lovely lady mods for coming through today and holding it down. Salute to all the bros. Shout out to all the visionaries and everyone who supports Sheep Stay Sleep TV. Thank y'all so much. I'm going to catch y'all tomorrow. Peace.